the nature of anonymity and kind of the evolving compliance and regulatory landscape. So in kind of the wake of the FinCEN guidance issuance, it made clear that Bitcoin exchanges would be kind of defined as money transmitters and MSBs, which triggers KYC requirements and identity authentication, suspicious transaction monitoring of users, checking the OFAC. Know your customer. So checking identities against massive databases and lists, OFAC lists, and UN lists, and on and on. So given that, what is your kind of outlook on anonymity in the Bitcoin?
You mind if I keep this for 1 second? Look, the two big problems, and I sort of touched on this, but if you hypothetically, and this is the question I would be asking you both, business person in this space, is what advantages, what value add you have without anonymity and without finality? What's left? And I'd focus on those, because anonymity, anonymous financial transactions, that's really scary to the government. And like,
yeah, I would say that cash is anonymous, right?
it's not, well, I mean, over $10,000 if you're fine. I'm sure retailers.
But small dollar amount.
Plus, it's harder to look. I mean, try to internationally transfer $1 billion in cash. I mean, what does that look like versus $1 billion in Bitcoin? I mean, well, I know it. Okay, let's use 100 million. One's a truck, one's ether. I mean,
so your point is really that the digital nature of Bitcoin already takes us out of the cash box, right?
Right. I mean, the BSA is the way the BSA, the whole regulatory anonymity, the whole process works is through the functioning of trusted, what was referred to as trusted third parties in white papers. And so the idea of taking that trusted third party out of the transaction is frightening for the people that built the laws that revolve around the trusted third party being involved.
So is that nature and inherent property of the system mutually exclusive with the regulatory environment?
We wouldn't. Hopefully, we're not saying it's mutually exclusive, but it definitely makes it harder. I mean, look, I don't think anybody's saying that Bitcoin was built to evade the BSA, but it certainly is built to evade the primary responsible party for complying with the BSA, which is the intermediary, the bank, right? So, does that make it inherently suspicious?
Well, I don't think the Bitcoin is inherently anonymous. I mean, it's way more trackable than cash. Like if you paid cash at the gas station, and they were required to put the serial numbers for every bill you paid right on the billboard. I mean,
But I guess I'm drawing a distinction between anonymity and privacy. It's not private, but it may be anonymous. If your identity, if there's a layer.
if you have those keys to identities, you can track the payments flow.
Right.
Way better than you can even with deposits. You need warrants to track the deposits.
But Brian.
Well, I just think, you're a prosecutor, one of the first things you do is you're investigating financial crimes, issue subpoenas to banks to get evidence. And I don't know who you would issue those to in this case, and what records you can even get back. So I think that creates a problem. There's also laws of design. So when you issue those subpoenas to banks, they have to keep that a secret from the customer whose account is subpoenaed in certain types of cases.
Yeah, actually, I have to pass SARS. Remember, that's one thing everybody in this room should know. Suspicious activity reports are. Yeah, do not talk about that. And talk to me later.
I mean, I guess I'd say that, yes, this makes regulators nervous because there isn't a single throat and choke. There is no transparency. But it's also fair to acknowledge that this is the reality. This exists. You know, the internet's the same way. You think about walled gardens, and I mean, we live in an open society, and so you know, just the fact that current laws haven't caught up doesn't mean that this needs to be thrown out. Right? There's lots of very legitimate uses for it, and there's also a lot of legitimate ways to track identity on different ends of the node, you know, to different access points or exit points to track identity. And it's also, I think, worthwhile pointing out that these addresses may not be anonymous for very long, right? I see people putting their Bitcoin address saying, send me money. It's associated with their email address, their LinkedIn profile, their Facebook page, right? And so, I mean, it's very conceivable that it's very easy to find out what Dax's Bitcoin address is.
But that goes back to your question. I mean, what Dax is trying to say is that, yeah, anonymous isn't necessarily, well, I think we're all saying that anonymity or privacy, you know, is not, I wouldn't bank on it being the future of Bitcoin.
I put in a plug for the next panel after lunch. It's on privacy and data security. So
Thank
they'll
you
get
very
it.
much. Appreciate it.
Let's try and have one quick question, quick answers as well.
Yeah, I'll make this rather quick. Something that I think hasn't been mentioned yet, and it was quite interesting, I think, is that in FinCEN's report, they speak to virtual currencies. And here, I think we're all taking Bitcoin as we assume that it's an important currency, but I think the question that isn't answered is when does virtual currency become real? You know, I mean, if you look at Bitcoin, how it starts, it's people maybe just trading it back and forth casually, and then now you consider it to be worth over $1 billion. If you were to trade electronic bottle caps at home, does FinCEN come in and say, okay, well, that's a virtual currency, so now you need to be a MSB just because your bottle caps here in America are being purchased for $1 billion in China?
So I think the short answer, without giving a technical answer, is once this turns into a value transfer system, bottle caps as clamshells can become a means of exchange, but bottle caps right now are not.
Well,
Bitcoin.
But I think
A virtual bottle cap.
yeah. Well, maybe to clarify, I mean, if you look at the Bitcoin economy, there's other virtual currencies like Litecoin, and there's a whole host of alternative currencies that arise very quickly. They can arise overnight and gain a market share very quickly and have a real value. You can transmit, you can convert one virtual currency to another and then to Bitcoin. So at what point in this chain does it become real in the sense that it's considered a convertible currency, if it is?
When it's a medium of exchange and it has an equivalent value of real currency, which means it can be sold or exchanged for real dollars, or it acts as a substitute for real currency.
Real currency being
And for cash and paper and coin.
official.
Fiat currency.
government. Or
Yeah, but you know, FinCEN in 2011 said stored value and currency equivalents were what they intended by this acts as a substitute for real currency. So it's a complicated answer, and that's why I think we're all here. I mean, you need to parse the definitions. But yeah, a lot of those currencies are virtual currencies.
If anyone has any questions
Yeah.
after, feel free to.
Thank you.
Take one more.
One thing that you guys have not covered at all, we're the exact opposite. So my name is George Modell, and we just started a credit union, the Internet Archives Credit Union, right? So we're trying to figure out. Sorry,
Are you state chartered?
am I?
State chartered.
Yeah, no, we're federally chartered. So two things. One is we're federally chartered. Two is we have an excellent things with the regulators right now. They like us a lot, right? So we're brand new. They like that. They like us, and we're trying to figure out, being part of the Internet Archive and wanting to support Bitcoin just in general, what services can we offer without jeopardizing that relationship and having our own charters used? So
You
what
just became a very popular person, I think.
Okay.
Probably shouldn't have walked up to the microphone.
Yeah,
Oh,
seriously.
okay. Well,
We can,
we'll head that way.
that's a really long question.
Okay,
So
so-
a really long answer, and one that I'm happy. I mean,
Maybe.
yeah.
Sorry.
Short answer, it depends.
Right. But it's great